Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little dive into r/TrueOffMyChest. I have checked that my microphone is plugged in and working. I've taken to giving it a little slap when I'm like just about to start recording because I can see then that the little thingies that go up and down kind of spike if I slap it, so I know it's going through the right microphone. Because, oh my goodness, the amount of times I had to re-record videos last week because I'd forgotten to plug the friggin' thing in the right hole. That sounds weird. Let's just get on with it because this is getting odd. So yeah, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to with me today, please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay then, first post posted by Responsible Court 795. My father has been my biggest bully for 29 years. Tonight he tried to punch me and I finally realised he was just a sad and weak old man. Trigger warning, I am going to imagine for abuse behaviours, so if that's something you cannot deal with, there'll be a timestamp in the chapters bit on the description so you can skip on past to the second story. I'm a 29-year-old guy. I'm fit, I run ultra marathons, sober, and I've spent my whole life walking on eggshells around my father. He fights with everyone, his brother, his friends, his co-workers, and he has physically abused me in the past, punched me in the head when I was a kid. That's awful. Oh my goodness. The silence is not just the aggression, it's the neglect. In 29 years, we have never had one single one-on-one father-son conversation. Not once. Whenever I try to speak to him, even about normal, everyday things, he shuts me down. He refuses to make eye contact with me and is constantly avoidant. Because of this, I stopped seeing him as a father a long time ago. To me, he is just a stranger I live with. The incident tonight, the power went out because the cats tripped over a wire. It was an accident. My father is currently very sick and physically weak. Heart problem, diabetes, high blood pressure. He's in very serious health conditions. But he went into a rage. He started screaming at my sister and me, demanding that we go out at midnight to buy an extension cord. I tried to de-escalate. I told him to calm down. He got in my face, then he tried to punch me. The switch. In the past, I would have cowered, but tonight something switched. I didn't punch him back, but I pushed him away to protect myself. Because he is weak, he fell down. I expected to feel horror or guilt. Instead, I felt nothing, actually. I felt good. I realised I wasn't scared of him anymore. I looked at him on the floor and asked, "It's been so long since you've been like this. What kind of father are you?" He looked at me and said, "So what?" The aftermath? He told me to get the F out of his house. My mum and sister told me to leave just to let things cool down. I walked out, but I eventually came back in to sleep because I have nowhere else to go. He is hiding in his room now, silent. I think he realised that the physical intimidation card that he used for 29 years has finally expired. He knows I could hurt him if I wanted to, and he knows I saw him fall. I'm glad tonight happened. The monster in my head is gone. He's just a bitter landlord now. Edit, I live in Malaysia, Southeast Asia. In our culture, it's very common for unmarried children to live with their parents into their late 20s and 30s. It's not mooching, it's the family norm here. It is currently 30 degrees, 86 Fahrenheit at night here. Flippin' heck. That sounds so icky. A couple summers ago, we had it where it got up to 37 degrees one day, 40 degrees out in the sun in my back garden. And when I tell you that I was lay on my kitchen floor, on the tiles, trying to cool down, it was horrid. But then again, we also had, it was something ridiculous, 97% humidity as well, because it had rained lots a few days before. It was foul. But no, I don't think it's automatically mooching when older children live with their parents at all. It very much depends on the situation. If that older child is living off their parents, they're expecting everything to be done for them, all their washing, their cleaning, all the food bought for them, they're not helping towards the household in any way, then yeah, you could definitely call that mooching, If there's no exchange of give and take and yeah, we all help each other, that's mooching. But just living with parents, I would say in this day and age, and in this economy, in any country, is getting so much more common. I've already made it clear to my eldest. My youngest really does not give two shits about this sort of stuff yet. But, me and my eldest will have conversations about what they want to do when they leave school, what they want to do when they do this, and where they see themselves and stuff. I never prompt these conversations, by the way. I let them prompt them because I don't want them to think that I'm like, hey, when are you going? When are you getting out? Because that's not it at all. And I've made it very clear, like, you can stay here as long as you want, just help towards the household, make sure that you're cleaning up after yourself and we all chip in. And even when you're an adult, you can be here. I don't care. What difference does it make to me? Anyway, concerning the OP and their dad, I totally understand that when the monster ceases to be a monster, I suppose. Like, I get on well with my mum now because they are very different. But yeah, when we were growing up, it was very unstable. It was very up and down. And it does feel like that treading on eggshells all the time, and when you finally reach that point where you manage to get past that somehow, it does just leave you all of a sudden feeling like, what the hell kind of thing. But yeah, as much as obviously I don't wish ill health on anyone, I do think that it is very helpful that the OP has been able to stand up for themselves against their dad. And their dad needed to see that they can't just bully everyone and be horrible all the time. Anyway, I've just realised we've got a little bit more of this to read, actually. And I'm waffling so much, sorry. So, the accident didn't cut the power to the house, it just shorted out one single extension cord in the living room. We had lights, fans, and power everywhere else. My father wanted us to drive out at midnight to replace a $10 wire that could have easily waited until morning. His reaction, screaming and trying to punch me, was about control, not electricity. Yeah, that's it, and it's usually people like that, they are big control freaks, and anything that doesn't go the way they want it to, it's any excuse to blow up, basically. Or something might have happened earlier in the day that's triggered them off to be in a bad mood, and then it's anything else that happens, they'll use that as an excuse to take that out on other people. It's not okay. Update, thank you everyone. Reading these comments made me realise I'm not crazy and I'm not alone. To anyone else dealing with a bully at home, the moment you realise they need your fear more than you need their approval, the game is over. You hold the cards now. Stay strong, stay sober, and don't let them drag you down to their level. Exactly. So down in the comments, Mother of Chaos 03 says, sorry that you had to grow up like that. Glad you have come to realise he can no longer control you. And then the OP says, thank you, and yes, this is the first time I've felt this glad, to be honest. It feels like I just climbed Everest. Exactly. And the OP also, not the OP, sorry, one of the commenters also said and made a good point of maybe saying to the dad next time he kicks off and inevitably the OP has to stand up to him again, just saying, and by the way, if you touch any of my siblings or my mother, like, there will be consequences. Because I think now it is that true fact, isn't it, that once you show that person that you are not scared of them and you will stand up to them, they are scared because they genuinely usually are absolute fannies that basically kick off and bully the weaker people around them so that they can get what they want and control them. And when they lose that, it all goes to pot, doesn't it? Next post, posted by ThroRA Bad Blackmail, says, I am being blackmailed for cheating on my wife. Oh no! How awful! Hi all, I need to get this out somewhere. A bit of background. So, my wife is incredible, amazing, brilliant, and the love of my life. Why'd you cheat then? We both, 33, own a company together that does financial stuff, keeping it vague. And it's been very successful. We aren't publicly in a relationship? What? We don't talk about our marriage or have public social media where it discloses our relationship. I mean, each to their own, but that's very odd. All this is to say, to the public eye, my wife and I are business partners, unmarried, and with our own separate marriages. My wife goes by her middle name and maiden name for work, and by her legal name when dealing in personal matters. Say her name is Jane Mary Doe Nee Fish. She goes by Jane Doe when not at work, and Mary Fish at work. Okay, so I understand keeping things low-key at work. But if it's your own company, I'm not sure why that would really be necessary. I do understand wanting to keep things like relationship status low-key at work, though, for multiple reasons, especially, I suppose, if you're higher up in the company. But I wouldn't have thought that would matter if you own the bloody company. Anyway, now, full disclosure, I did not cheat on my wife. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I can see where this is going. Did you just hear the moment the penny dropped in my little pea brain? We were at a work function and kissed briefly when arriving, in car, and apparently someone saw it. I woke up this morning to an email addressed to me saying that if I don't want my wife, Jane Doe, finding out I'm cheating on her with my business partner, Mary Fish, then I am to pay them off with an amount I won't be listing here. But it is quite a sum. They included photos of me and Mary together, and then, and this is the best part, sent a link to Jane's Facebook page where she notoriously doesn't post her own face anywhere. Maybe the title should have been, I am being blackmailed for cheating on my wife with my wife. Honestly, you got me with that. You got me. I didn't like you for a minute then, OP. I really didn't like you. I'm both amused and horrified. Thanks for listening, Reddit. My wife hasn't stopped laughing to commiserate with me yet. And I needed an ear, needed to get this out. That is amazing. That is so funny. Oh my goodness. What a twist! I loved that. I did not actually see that coming. So, down in the comments, Logical Phone 2321 says, this is a new one. And Mysterious One says, I was hooked from start to finish. Honestly, I would read a book. I would read this little tiny short story shared by the OP written out into a proper full-on book. That could be such a funny book. Next post, posted by Foreign Basis 11. I'm finally leaving my poly marriage. That was a bit of a tongue twister there, could you tell? When I married my husband, I knew he was poly. He told me that when we started dating. I ended the relationship, but after a couple of months, he told me that he was in love with me and would choose me over polyamory. That was my mistake, and mine alone, that I agreed because I was so in love with him. I had to live with my decision to choose my heart over my brain. I have paid now with 3 of my best years taken from me. I can't even recognise the greying woman I look at in the mirror. Lovey, I'm sure you haven't aged that much in 3 years. Come on now. I'm sure you haven't. Don't be so hard on yourself. When we had our second child 3 years ago, he told me that he wanted to be poly again. I refused and cried and raged, and he said that this was already decided and I could leave if I wanted. I'd just given birth and had a 1-year-old. He made all the money because he told me to focus on my studies instead. This sounds very calculated on his part. One day he came home with his girlfriend number 1 to introduce her to me. This is awful. My world shattered. 6 months later, he introduced girlfriend 2. I knew nothing about that world or the rules, and I probably still don't know because couples make their own rules and boundaries from what I understand. All I know is that after he introduced his girlfriend number 1, it felt like my soul left my body and was watching from the sideline. I just went through the motion and agreed to everything like I was in a haze. He said I didn't have to have any contact with them. He will never get a new girlfriend behind my back. Well, it sounds like he has, because it sounds like until he decides to just show up with them, the OP's not really kept in the loop. And always tell me the truth. He also said that we, the women, are the ones to plan dates and decide who he spends time with and when. I was in a group chat with them and I basically never put my name in the planning. In the beginning, he didn't seem to notice or care, but after about a year, the problems started. He said that he never spent any time with me anymore, and even if he promised that the dates would be planned between the women, he missed me and knew I was not putting my name on purpose. I told him that I was tired and busy, and he sure should feel happy that he had options, and that he should respect his own rules that, according to him, always were successful. The fights got worse, and sometimes he would spend the night in our place, even though it is decided he would spend it with one of his other girlfriends. He said that I agreed under false pretenses, but I told him that he could leave me. He would rage and beg and love bomb and even cry that he missed me. Lastly, he said that he wasn't happy anymore and wanted it to just be us again, like the beginning of our relationship, because he was miserable. Oh no, if it's not the consequences of your own actions. I'm not being funny, but him saying, oh, you're basically going against what we agreed. The OP had no choice. The OP... Surely, yeah, they had the choice to leave. Of course they did. And do I think they should have? Absolutely. But I understand the nuances of having a 1-year-old being pregnant, feeling stuck, feeling like you have no options. She has no money because obviously she was told to concentrate on her studies. And I fully believe his plan was to trap her in a place where he knew she couldn't leave before he decided to say, yeah, I want to be Polly, by the way. I fully believe that. So he got into this with manipulation, and now he's surprised that it's blowing up in his face? Like, mate, come on. What changed now? I got a part-time job at the company I did my internship, so now I could have an income while studying. My mum is moving to my city because she found a good job and she rented a 2-bedroom apartment. She said she could give me 1 room and she could help with my children while I'm studying. Suddenly I have no worries about rent and finances, and I am graduating this summer. I've sent my husband an email telling him that I am leaving. Yes, my love. He is away on vacation, and when he comes home, I will be gone. Pray for me after 3 years of constant nightmare. I feel that I can unite with my soul again and wake up from this haze. I friggin' love that. I hate that it took so long to get here, but I love that you are here now. I'm sorry if you can hear my bracelets rattling, by the way. My kid has made me like a ton of bracelets, so of course I have to wear every single one at the same time. So down in the comments, Over Improvement 7115 says, you said it's your fault, but it's not, because he told you he chose you over living Polly. So he lied to you. Be proud of yourself for getting organised and leaving. Yeah, and that's it. Don't forget at the start, the husband was like, no, don't worry. I don't need to be Polly. I choose you over it. And then waiting until she was in a position she couldn't leave to go, haha, joke. I want to be Polly, actually. And here's 2 new girlfriends. Like, what? So then the OP replied, I should have understood that people don't just change for you. Exactly. They really don't. And then Over Improvement then replies to that saying, that's very true. But now you know, and you're doing the right thing. I am very happy for this OP, and I hope everything works out amazingly for them from here on out, because oh my goodness, do they deserve it? So, last post for the day, Nice Lie 7109 says, knowing how some women work makes me feel less of a feminist, apparently. Okay. About 7 months ago, my husband sat me down and told me that he was in love with this woman from work. He said that he wanted to be honest and not cheat, but wanted to do it in the right way and ask for a separation. At that point, he had changed towards me so much for the previous 6 weeks, his words came as a relief. He was cold, distant, combative, and wanted to fight for anything. I walked on eggshells around him toward the end. When he told me he was in love, it was the last thing I thought it was, so it came like a realization and relief at once. That is fine, was my answer. He was confused by my reaction, that it was probably for the best. I thought you cared more, to be honest, was his disappointed answer. I explained about the eggshells that I finally can stomp on now. He lived with me for 2 more weeks and it was awkward. Seeing him all jumpy and excited like a little boy, I mostly stayed in my bedroom. When he moved out, I didn't see him for a month. He texted me occasionally asking how I was, but I never answered. When I filed the paperwork for divorce, we started seeing each other more, planning when to sell the apartment, moving his and my stuff around, and then about a month ago, we started renovation of the apartment. We were painting the bedroom and he was distant again. I wasn't sure if I should say anything, but decided to ask what's up. He looked like he took the question literally. He said that he wasn't sure. Things didn't go as he thought they would. When he moved out and found his new place, things changed with her. Ah, yes. I've seen this a lot too. I don't know how to explain it. She wasn't as passionate. He explained that he expected more in the beginning of a relationship, reminding me of how passionate we were. I told him that when they started the affair, she was fully aware she was stealing him from another woman. Yep, and the type of people that do that, be it a man or a woman, if it's a man or a woman getting in a relationship that they know is in a relationship with somebody else, and, married, whatever. Those types of people that do that tend to enjoy the fantasy of taking someone away from someone. And then when they have that, and then that person no longer has that other someone, and that fantasy is fulfilled, they get bored. And it's not as exciting anymore. So, yeah, I know what the OP is about to say, and I fully agree. I think that's what it is. The new woman is bored because there's no longer a fantasy of stealing him. He got very upset, saying he never cheated. He was adamant to end our relationship before starting anything with her. I just looked at him and continued. She was fully aware she was stealing you from another woman. Maybe that was the only excitement for her, and now you two have nothing. He didn't say anything for a while, and then he said that he missed me. I asked if he was going to make this awkward, because then we can divide the job and work on the renovation on different schedules. He apologised and said that he didn't mean to offend me, but he missed me all the time. I said, well, you offend me because as opposed to them, I don't flirt with unavailable people. He thought my comparison was ridiculous. I just shrugged. Then yesterday, he sent me a text saying that I was right. When he told his colleague that he was back together with his wife, she was back to being passionate and affectionate. What a surprise. I didn't answer, thinking, was this worth my heart? The absurdity and ridiculousness of breaking my heart for this made me want to laugh and cry at the same time. An hour later, he was at my doorstep. He didn't say much, just smoked about 20 cigarettes, and I too smoked after 15 years of being smoke-free. He said, I don't know what I was thinking. I love you. You know that. Yeah, all right then. If you did, you wouldn't have been so easily swayed. I answered no, which is the truth. He looked shocked, like I said something crazy. Come on, you know I love you. I again said no. He just shook his head. After he left, he texted me that he was ending things with her. I texted back that this must be the most ridiculous thing to have ended a marriage over. He called me 3 times, but I didn't answer. When I told my friends what happened, they were surprised at how judgmental I was towards the other woman. I'm sorry, no. One friend even went as far as calling me a pick-me. I would argue that that would be the other woman who was a pick-me, but okay. I was surprised too, because I have always counted myself as a feminist and a girl's girl. I didn't argue with them because I didn't have the energy, but also because they gave me something to reflect upon. I have never thought I would be in the wrong in this, having been feeling the victim for the past 7 months. Now I feel that maybe I wasn't, and it made me feel less angry for some reason. Like I am an equal footing with my husband and his colleague. No. Being a feminist does not mean blindly literally saying yes and agreeing with everything somebody does just because they're a woman. Like, giving someone a pass just because they're a woman for bad behavior is not feminism. So, do you know what I mean? It's like, that's ridiculous that her friends even said that. That's so not true. And I'm not being funny then, but what does that make this other woman? Does it not make her not a girl's girl because she was literally trying to snatch someone else's husband? Like, what? I don't understand. So then down in the comments, DizzyNote7708 says, your friends are out of their mind and not good friends. Thank you. Exactly. Hubby found out the grass ain't greener on the other side and wanted to come back. Can't have it both ways. And the other girl was the pick-me. You did the right thing. You know you did. Also, being a feminist doesn't mean excusing every bad behavior a woman makes. Thank you. It means fighting for equality and justice. Keep your head up and finish the divorce. Exactly. What bad friends to say that. Oh my God. And especially when the OP's guaranteed to be really hurting as well. Goodness me. Anyway, I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the covered avoid. Welcome. Do not forget to leave the offering of a comment for Big Al. He is always watching. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.